So for those of you who do not know me, my name is Eva. I've been with LifeRing for many years, starting out with the wonderful email groups LSR Mail and LSR Safe back in the early 2000s, since there were no face-to-face meetings back then here on the East Coast. And LifeRing was just so instrumental in my getting better. My road to recovery had many detours, but when I finally got serious about getting and staying sober back in 2015, one of the first things I did was enroll in a mindfulness-based stress reduction class that was being offered at UMass UMass Medical School. I found it immensely helpful. It gave me a lot of tools to put into my recovery toolbox. And I always thought that it would be really useful for all of us who are navigating our recovery. So just a little about me. I've been in healthcare for 30 years as a nurse practitioner, and now as a clinician. And I've always been really interested in stress and how it plays out in both physical and mental health, and especially stress that's chronic and unrelenting. So right now I'm moving away from my healthcare career, and I am enrolled at Brown, just working on a teaching certificate so that I can teach MBSR, or mindfulness stress reduction. So as I said, I always thought it would be helpful in recovery. And and today, after Dr. Kelly's talk, I just love him focusing on how our stress reactivity or stress tolerance can be very low in early recovery and can really impede our progress. And so doing something like learning how to manage it is, just seems really key. I hear people talk about mindfulness all the time in my meetings, and they also talking about how stress throws them off course. And so I'm really interested in learning more about how the practice can help people in recovery. I know there's somebody out at the University of Washington, I think, who does mindfulness-based relapse prevention. It's a course that people do in the course of treatment, I think. But that's the only place that I've really seen it being done. So I just think it would be a great research project for Dr. Kelly. And anyway, so one of the things about mindfulness that I found incredibly helpful was that it helped me learn how to sit with discomfort. And that I think is something we're all seeking to learn how to do, how to just be with the things that are difficult without trying to escape or escape through a substance. So today we'll just look briefly at what exactly mindfulness is, what it isn't, and just a little about how the MBSR course is set up. And just starting with the definition of mindfulness itself, because there's so many people talking about mindfulness, and I think people may mean different things at times. So essentially, mindfulness is the awareness that arises from paying attention on purpose in the present moment and without judgment. And what mindfulness is not is it's not relaxation, it's not a quick fix, it's not a technique, not a therapy. It's not a cure, but it just helps us learn to manage stress better. It helps us to be able to respond rather than react. It teaches us to become aware of how we're reacting to the causes of stress, to be able to disengage ourselves from the reaction and pause, and then instead respond in a healthier way. And I could easily substitute the word trigger for stress in all of this discussion. So mindfulness is the awareness that arises from paying attention on purpose in the present moment and without judgment, which is easier said than done. And that is where the beauty of the MBSR program comes in, because it's structured with a standardized curriculum that goes over an 8-week period involving weekly group sessions, homework, journaling, that kind of thing. So just a little about the history of MBSR. The first mindfulness-based stress reduction clinic opened at UMass Hospital in 1979. And that was around the time back in the 1960s and 70s when we were just starting to see here in the West an interest in European not European, Eastern traditions such as Zen Buddhism, Buddhism. John Kabat-Zinn was a doctoral student at MIT who was pursuing a doctorate in molecular biology. He became very interested in meditation and saw within the practice the potential for helping people cope with stress, pain, the ups and downs of life in general. So he set out to save the essence of their teachings and secularize them and made them accessible to people who wanted to benefit from the practices without becoming a Buddhist or a Zen monk, sort of very similar to LifeRing. Anyway, the program was originally created for the purpose of helping out outpatients at a hospital who were suffering from chronic pain and other chronic medical conditions. Specifically those types of condition where there's no cure and the treatment itself is limited. So quite a bit like substance use disorders. And so we can thank Dr. John Kabat-Zinn for mainstreaming the idea of mindfulness and the practice. And as part of the clinic, a lot of scientific research began on the effect of mindfulness practice on both physical and mental well-being. And there's just a lot of research out there now. And what we know is that the practice of mindfulness has a beneficial effect on both our physiology and psychology. Studies show that it has a positive impact on such conditions as hypertension, irritable bowel syndrome, fibromyalgia, chronic heart failure, psoriasis. It has an effect on epigenetics, the science that informs us that what we do in our lives influences our very DNA. And studies also show that the practice is of benefit to people with anxiety and depression. So when it comes to our brains, I think mindfulness is just so exciting because of its effect on neuroplasticity, and which is like, you know, like the one great hope when it comes to recovering from addiction. Anyway, neuroplasticity is probably one of the most influential ideas to come out of modern neuroscience. The discovery that the brain is constantly changing in response to how it's being used and challenged is just incredible. So we all have the potential to shape our brains in important ways that maximize well-being, clarity, and connection, all of which seem to improve with mindfulness practice. Scientific studies have shown that meditation can produce structural changes in the brain that may underpin such benefits like calmness, focus, contentment. And again, what's exciting to me as a woman with alcohol use disorder is studies show that it helps calm our amygdala, our lizard brain. It helps with emotional regulation and impulsivity, two things that were really key in tipping me over into relapses over and over again. So I feel a mindfulness practice helps keep me more on an even keel. So I just like to share this brief 5-minute video of John Kabat-Zinn doing a little talk on mindfulness. And after that, we'll do a sitting meditation together. And then I thought, because this is our annual meeting, that I do a little just close with a loving kindness meditation as an expression of gratitude for LifeRing and all the people here today. And then we can open it up to discussion if anybody's interested. So let's see if I can do this. Oops. Am I already sharing?
Yes. Taking your seat in meditation is taking a stand. Each and every moment is an opportunity to investigate the nature of your mind. When you bring awareness to a moment, a universe of new possibilities arises. To be mindful is to befriend the present moment as it is. To discover the beauty of your life while it's still yours to live. And most of all, to wake up. I realize that it's very important, since you've enrolled in this course, that in some sense you have a framework for understanding why, at least I think, mindfulness is important to cultivate in one's life. And over the past 40 plus years of offering mindfulness-based stress reduction and all sorts of other mindfulness-based programs, we've learned a lot about how the mind-body connection can actually influence well-being and healing. And now it's spread to medical centers and clinics virtually around the world, pretty much every continent. And it's very gratifying to see mindfulness spreading in the world where people's lives actually light up. I've worked with thousands of medical patients over the years, and they always say basically the same thing. My meditation practice gave me back my life. When I was working in the Massachusetts prison teaching mindfulness, it felt like giving food to starving people. It felt like providing an oxygen line straight into the heart about what was most fundamental about being alive, about having a body, about being human. And the biggest motivator of people to come to mindfulness is that your life isn't working. In one way or another, you're suffering. You're not completely at home in your body, in your mind, in your world. And there's a lot of anguish, a lot of grief, a lot of pain associated with that not quite rightness. What I've discovered since then is it doesn't matter what your motivation is for landing within the domain of mindfulness. Any motivation whatsoever will do. The important thing is to enter the doorway. And everybody will do it differently too. It's not like, oh, the more that we meditate, the more we become like one hero of ours who we think is the great meditator. No, that's absurd. You will never be Mother Teresa. You will never be the Dalai Lama. You will never be whoever your hero or guru of the moment is. The only chance you have is to be yourself. You don't have a snowball's chance in hell of becoming the Dalai Lama. But you do have a snowball's chance in hell of becoming you. But you should know from the beginning that I'm not kidding around. And I invite you to also not kid around with yourself. I don't care at all about what you think about me, because I'm not the subject. I'm not the curriculum. You're the curriculum. Something brought you to this particular program. What was that? It can't just be mere curiosity about some personage or some face or some reputation associated with a name. There has to be some kind of inner sense that maybe something's missing that this could complete in me. And the entire thrust of this masterclass, this program that we're doing together, is that you don't have to perfect anything. You're already perfect, exactly as you are, including all the imperfections that your mind is rushing to say, well, he doesn't know who I am because he can't possibly mean me perfect. And I'm saying, yes, you, that you're just fine, you're okay, just as you are, and this is a wonderful place to start. So that being said, I'm going to basically introduce you to a lot of doors into the very same room. We can cultivate mindfulness in an array of different ways. And some people will enter through sitting meditation. Other people might enter through the realm of lying down meditations. Other people might enter through the realm of mindful hatha yoga and moving your body in various ways. So let me put it this way. If you're breathing, this class could be for you. As long as you're breathing, from our point of view, there's more right with you than wrong with you. And we're going to pour energy into what's right with you and see what happens. So then it becomes a big adventure. So this is a kind of invitation to actually drop in and begin from the beginning and befriend yourself and sign up for the adventure of a lifetime, which is living the life that's yours to live, starting from exactly where you are now.
Okay. So, oops. Sorry about that. So that was John Kabat-Zinn. And now I'd like to invite you to do a sitting meditation with me, or to do a mindfulness meditation with me, and I will guide you through it. It'll be sort of an intro to a mindfulness meditation practice. So inviting you to sit up in your chair. If you're not comfortable sitting, and many people may have conditions that make it uncomfortable to sit for too long, you're more than welcome to stand or lie down, whatever is comfortable for you. So whichever position you choose, just arranging your body so that you're sitting up straight, arranging your body so that you're both supporting wakefulness and that you're comfortable. And if you have any trouble sitting, I already said this, you can take any position that you feel comfortable in, whatever feels right. You can keep your eyes open or shut, whatever you prefer. And I'll just give everybody a few moments to settle in and maybe take a few deep breaths. Bring yourself into this virtual room. So inviting you to allow your awareness to rest in a sense of the body, of how the body is positioned in space. Feeling where your body is touching the chair, the floor, whatever. There's no one right way to do it, but just drop into the body as a whole. Sitting, lying down, standing, and breathing. The important thing to remember about this practice is that it's not doing, it's just being. And what is coming through all your senses are all just part of the domain of present moment experience. And right now we're just focusing at the moment on the felt sense of the body, sitting in space or lying in space. And let's just drop into one element of the experience of the body. And that is that the body is breathing. So one thing you can do is actually focus on the breath sensations in the body. That's often a very effective way of stabilizing the mind and grounding it in the present moment. So just seeing if you can feel someplace in the body the sensations of the breath coming in, and then the sensation of the breath leaving the body. And then the breath coming in and out. And we're not trying to push or pull the breath. We're just letting it be, letting it flow in and out of its own accord. And then inviting you to see where you are feeling the breath in your body. And so very often people feel the breath at their nostrils. And then again, you may feel your belly expanding every time the breath comes in, and the belly deflating when the breath goes out. Another place you might feel the breath would be in the chest. And you should feel comfortable finding the place that feels right for you, and then focusing in there and staying there wherever you feel most comfortable. And it can be like surfing the waves of your breathing. Just resting in awareness of the entire cycle of breath moving in and out of the body, moment by moment, breath by breath. and trying to engage with it playfully, doing it with as much lightness of touch as possible. And at the very same time, as if your life depended on it, which it does. And then now it won't take all that long for you to realize that your mind has a life of its own. And even if you've given it this assignment to stay on the breath and ride on the breath in and out, you're going to get caught up in thinking and get carried away. And then after a while, you might realize, oh, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be on my breath. So it's important to understand that all of this is the meditation. It's not like when you stopped meditating, you forgot to meditate, and now you're remembering to get back to the meditation, because it's all part of the curriculum. It's all becoming aware of the nature of our mind. It's revealing to yourself that it's not necessarily going to stay on one object because it's not used to doing that. Our minds are in the habit of generating stories, narratives. It's used to falling into planning or worrying, thinking about the future, falling into remembering this or that in the past, who did what to whom, and why, and then completely get caught up in narratives, storylines about the past. And then the breath in the belly that we were so intent on feeling with each breath long gone. And at a certain moment, you'll recognize this, and that recognition itself is the mindfulness, and that is the meditation, that is the practice. It's the awareness that the mind has a life of its own, and it's wandered off into the future, the past, thinking about one thing or another. So here's another instruction to include in your repertoire of instructions. When you notice that your mind is not on the breath, your chosen object of attention for the moment, just notice what's on your mind. That is as valid an object of your attention as the breath sensations in your body. So what is on your mind when you realize you are no longer on your breath? And seeing if you can just notice what's on your mind, and then come back to where the breath is in the body at this moment. And then you're back to riding the waves of your breath, whatever and wherever you're feeling it in your body. And you may notice, most likely, that you'll be disappointed in yourself, or critical, or beat yourself up, or whatever, because you got carried away and that you let go of the breath. And this is just what minds do. It's not about stopping thinking. It's just, it's the process of discovery. Discovering that our mind is all over the place, and that it's not going to be the first or the last time. It's going to happen endlessly, and it's part of the practice. So then the instruction then becomes, as you sit and ride on the waves of your breathing, just noticing every time the mind gets lost. And there's a period of time where you don't even know it, and then you realize it, and then you're back. Noticing what's on your mind in the moment you realized it. You may not even know what carried you away, because that may have been 10 thoughts away in the past. But at least recognizing where your mind is right in this moment, and then just letting it be exactly as it is. Not pursuing it or pushing it away, not condemning it, not judging or criticizing yourself in any way. Just seeing it, not taking anything personally. And then returning to the breath, coming in, going out. And if the mind wanders 100 times in the space of 5 minutes or 10 minutes, every time you invite yourself to simply go back to the breathing. And you can see that this is a very challenging invitation. It does involve discipline and a willingness to get gentle yourself into seeing what's on your mind and coming back to the breath sensations in the body over and over and over again. And every time being the first time, because we're taking up residence in this only moment that we have, which is now. And you're simply dropping in on the moment as it is, right here, right now, and resting here moment by moment, with things exactly as they are, in the body, in the mind, in the world, sounds or activities that may be going on in your environment. And you're at home. So for now, there's no place to go, nothing to do, no special something that you're trying to attain. And just this moment, this breath, just this sitting here, just this lying here, just this being human. And now, before we finish up this session, I would like to just offer a love and kindness meditation for us all. As I said, and as an expression of gratitude to LifeRing and for all of you who are here today at this meeting. And it just starts out with inviting you to, just repeat these words to yourself as I go through them. May I be safe. May I be healthy and well. May I be happy. May I meet my life with ease. And then extending the same invitation to everybody here in this room. May we be safe. May we be healthy and well. May we be happy. May we meet our lives with ease. And now, as we come to a close of this little intro session, if you've had your eyes closed, inviting you to slowly open your eyes whenever you're ready. And allowing yourself to shift around in whatever position you are in. And seeing if you can keep up the awareness of breathing in the body, even as we move on to whatever is coming up next. And so in this way, we're actually intentionally reminding ourselves that the meditation practice is not as separate from life itself at all. We don't stop breathing when the meditation comes to an end. And we don't stop the mindfulness either at the end of the session. So it would be helpful if we could bring that spaciousness into our next moves during the day and take on whatever is next. And in that way, we're asserting that the meditation practice is life itself. And we're embodying it by simply remembering that even if I ring a bell to signal it's the end of the practice, there is no end to the meditation practice. It is life itself. And any moment is a perfect moment to be fully present Thank you all.
Eva, that was wonderful.
You always say that.
Because you are.
It's such a pleasure to share that with you all you folks. Yeah.
That was lovely, Eva.
Thank you, Linda.
So have you graduated? Is that all over now?
No, I was going to do the intensive in May, but then I received a job offer and went back to work. And when I went back to work, I thought, wait, I need to adjust to one thing at a time. One thing I've learned in recovery is not to try to do too many things at once. And so I'm focusing on work for a little bit, and then in September, I'll be doing the intensive. And then after that, I'll have the certificate to be able to teach it. And yeah.
Well, I'm glad you got a job. It seems to be like contagious. So I hope I get cursed with that as well.
The job.
Eva, I want to say thank you so much for this again, and also to encourage people. Eva's also a convener, and we've been very fortunate to have her with us. I don't know what your future is like, Eva, but we're awfully glad that we've had a chance to know you and to share your beautiful gifts. So thank you very much for that.
Interject. Thank you, Eva. Eva was also the board secretary and a board member for a period of time. So she's been a long-term friend of LifeRing.
Don't forget regional rep.
Oh, that too.
They always forget the regional rep.
Put that on the CV. You gotta put that on the CV. Yep.
Well, you know, Eva, we are having a secretary opening right now. If you'd like to come back to the fold, I'll save you a seat next to me.
Actually, I learned so much about LifeRing by doing that. I loved that part. The only A+ I ever got in school was in typing. So, so I was meant to be a secretary, board secretary. Anyway, it just really just the aspect of getting involved in whatever peer support group we're in is so crucial. That just was really powerful for me to pull me in, because I was always like such a lone cowboy. Like, I do everything alone. I don't do anything with groups. So having a job made me, be more likely to get involved. So.
Awesome.
So, Sue, you could introduce, you could say, we need a secretary. Anybody
I just
want
did,
to?
Robert.
Well, the qualifications are not as stringent as being on the board and, as
No, it's not. I think Sylvia has her hand up. She'd like to be our secretary. Sylvia, that's fantastic.
No.
Sylvia.
No.
Round of applause for Sylvia.
No. Unlike
I'm sorry. I must have misunderstood.
unlike Eva, I never learned to type. So I never took typing. So my typing is two little fingers going like this. So no, you don't want me as a secretary. No way. I did have my hand up to say something to Eva though. Also, well, that was just really, really, I mean, I went into some kind of place I haven't been into. So that was so lovely. And I was just wondering if you wouldn't mind putting those statements, those loving kindness statements in chat. I'd like to kind of keep them and integrate that into my some of my mindful practice. Integrate that. So I love those. Thank you.
I'd be happy to. The loving kindness meditation was something that really, really was very healing for me, because like many other people with substance use disorders, I really disliked myself. I hated myself. I was full of self-loathing. And so the first few times I did loving kindness meditations, I just wept swept, wept. And slowly but surely, the loving kindness meditation, you know, because our minds tend to always go to self-criticism. That's just our negative bias, you know, that all of us kind of tend to do that. And so making a point of doing a loving kindness meditation directed at myself day in and day out was hugely life altering for me. So yeah, thanks.
I want to make a point. There were some people worried about this being recorded. Zoom records in a couple different ways, and all we're going to use is the speaker version of the recording. If participants, we don't want participants in any of the videos. Fortunately, a lot of you people have your cameras off, but we don't even use those videos. So it's just for speakers that we need the videos for, and they'll be cut up and segmented into different things on our YouTube channel. So just be aware that we're not recording you, recording the participants in the room.
I can confirm that because I was like, you know, and we did a bunch of testing last week just to make sure that, you know, if this is happening, does this happen? And it's definitely focused on the speaker. That's why we cut everybody's mic so that doesn't pick up, because that's what prompts the video to go. So it's like I guess like a T-Rex, you know, if it hears you, it's gonna go at you. So that's why we cut your mics. And I think someone was asking about the video. Well, we'll be putting this up on YouTube because Eva's agreed to that. So we're really excited. But she gets to look at it first and decide if that's it. Now, Victoria, you have your hand up.
Yes, I just wanted to echo what everyone else is saying. That was I'm just starting to try to get into meditation. Still pretty distractible, but you have a very soothing voice, and I've heard that loving kindness mantra before, and I often, and when I'm in distress, will just repeat it to myself over and over again. It's really nice. Thank you for all of you being here.
Thank you. Yeah.